So that concludes oral expression. Let's move into math. Specifically, math problem solving. So math problem solving is exactly what it says it is. It's a untimed test that allows for measuring problem solving skills, specifically math problem solving skills. You're going to be giving the person paper and pencil, but not a calculator. And the start and stop points are specific to the grade level. So that's something else you're going to make sure you're keeping up with. And administration is, I'm going to read you some questions. I'm going to read some questions to you. You may use this paper and pencil at any time to help you work out the problems. And it's just math problems. So with regard to numerical operations, this subtest measures exactly what it says, numerical operations. There's 61 items on it, and you have the student do the math problems, and then you can score them later to see how they did. You're getting the floor and ceiling, and you can see right there, there's the basal or the floor and the ceilings and the discontinue rules for you to read. Math fluency really looks at addition, subtraction, and multiplication for different mathematical computations. It's only for grades 3 through 12 for multiplication, but the addition and subtraction are for all grades. And again, you're going to be using that pencil without the eraser. And you say, if you make a mistake, just cross it out. And the instructions are, I want you to write the answers to as many math problems as you can in 1 minute. Start here and work the problems in this order. And you give them this response booklet and have them go as quickly as they can, and you just time them. Now, that concludes all of the subtests and descriptions of all of the subtests and how to administer them. Scoring is not that complicated, though. I do recommend that if this is the first time that you're giving this test, or even the third or fourth time, have another pair of eyes go over your raw scores just to make sure you calculated everything correctly. You know, it's not until you've administered and scored one of these tests like 20 times that you're not going to make errors. That's just my rule of thumb. Go over and over and over again, because hopefully you won't make those errors, but I can't tell you how many times, if you're doing things in a hurry, you'll miss something. So make sure that you've gone over it. And once you've gotten those raw scores, you transfer them onto the first page of the record form. It's all together. You convert the raw scores to standard scores, calculate confidence intervals, obtain percentile ranks and grade levels, age equivalents, and whatnot. All of this is in Chapter 2 of the Examiner's Manual, and of course the appendices have the standard scores that you're converting to, but how to do it step by step is in the book. I'm not going to read you guys the book. You can read it yourself. Some of the interesting things about scoring, though, for the next slide includes obtaining growth scale values. Remember, the growth scale is something that the WIAT5 has that's new, that's really good for looking at students' abilities to grow. And I know that seems silly, but it reflects individual growth. So this is a set of scores that really looks at the individual, as opposed to all of the rest of the standard scores, which are looking at their scores compared to age-related peers. So the growth scale values are great for looking at growth across time, and specifically with regard to this person in front of you's performance. In addition to all of this, just so you guys know, there is Scoring Assistant that's part of the basics kit that you can use that will help you obtain all of these numbers. So it's not nearly as tedious and scary as it looks. The second page and the third page, those are a little scary. On first blush, if you've never looked at subtest score summaries and comparisons across composite scores and composite standard scores, it is a little intimidating. However, if you look at the bottom of the record form, it tells you exactly which tables to look at and how to convert everything. So if you're going slow, you're doing it, you'll be able to get these scores with no problems. Now, it would take me forever to go over the interpretation of the WIAT. And Chapter 4 of the Examiner's Manual does a really good job of it. So I'm going to direct all of you guys to Chapter 4 of the Examiner's Manual. It gives you interpretation guidelines for using all of those standard scores we just talked about. It also gives you descriptions of each subtest. So you can actually, if you see someone who is 1.5 to 2 standard deviations below what would be expected for their age compared to their age-related peers, go to that subtest, learn what it measures, and you'll get a good idea of what that person's weaknesses are. Additionally, if they're 1.5 to 2 standard deviations above, that suggests a strength. That's just rule of thumb. But the test itself gives you the ability to look up statistically significant strengths or weaknesses. So feel free to fill that out. Chapter 4 also goes over really good interpretation of learning disabilities and how to use these scores to look at the potentiality of learning disabilities. In addition to the Examiner's Manual, there's always the Essentials books and other books that are out there that you can get online, Amazon.com, whatever, and really go into a lot more depth on how to do a thorough interpretation using the WIAT. Remember, CHC theory, I'll bring you guys back to that always. The Essentials book for the WIAT-3 actually goes into the CHC theory and how to use that with the WIAT. So if you're interested in getting more out of your information, you can certainly look at it through a different theoretical perspective and lens. So I think that's going to conclude our discussion of the WIAT-3 today, and we'll talk about something else next. Thank you. We're done. Yep. That wasn't nearly the 12 hours I thought it was going to be.
So,
I want to add one more thing to this slide.
even if I get pneumonia, I'll still be able to go to the Giants game tonight. Oh, come on, that.
Oh, I hope you don't get pneumonia. If you get pneumonia, I'm going to feel so... Oh. Uh-oh. Hopefully you'll be okay.
I actually have cancer.
Oh, no.
I have a form of leukemia that attacks one of the types of white blood cells. And you have 4 types of white blood cells, and they each fight different kinds of infections. And the kind that's dysfunctional for me fights pneumonia. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's my weakness.
Okay.
But,
if you want to pull that off onto your computer, you totally can, or save it on